Well, good evening and welcome into the Card Central Postgame Show. I'm Sara, Dayley on this late night edition alongside Ethan Hannaford. Of course, the Cardinals out on the West Coast tonight and couldn't quite get it done in the series opener against the Padres, falling short by a final score of 4-1. Libby only lasting about 4 1/3 innings, Ethan. We have a couple of topics to tackle, but let's go ahead and start right there with the Cards starting pitcher tonight.
Well, first off, let me just say, at least, if it's going to be a painful, ugly game, at least let it be quick. And it was quick tonight. The only inning that felt like it really stretched at all was the fifth inning, where all 5 combined runs were scored in this one. Outside of that, go, go, go. Nick Pivetta, boy, was he on tonight. He's been excellent this year. And the Cardinals, outside of Wilson Contreras, in one of his ABs, had absolutely no answers for him tonight. Pretty disappointing response from the offense, from the defense as well. Matthew Liberatore, I thought actually looked pretty good tonight. I thought he located his stuff pretty well through 4 innings. Of course, that leadoff walks are never going to help you, but he doesn't get any help when the air charged to Nolan Gorman, probably a play that Contreras will tell you he needs to make, and then a completely boneheaded decision to throw it to third, spikes the ball. It gets past 3 infielders. I mean, a horrible looking play and uncharacteristic for a team that you could argue you'd say defense has been their strength, their most consistent part of their game this year. And all of a sudden, that momentum that you had going into the bottom of the inning completely wiped away. Matthew Liberatore, at that point, would you like to see him be able to work through that? Absolutely. He gets into the heart of the order. He's not able to put away Tatis. A couple of super soft contact hits, and all of a sudden his night's over. I actually like the decision by Ollie Marmol to pull him at that point. He was at 85 pitches and had a really long inning. And we've already talked about the Cardinals needing to be careful with Liberatore. They've already skipped his time through the rotation once in the second half. He's already beyond. He's already at a new career high for a single season as far as innings thrown. So you're going to want to be careful with Matthew Liberatore. So I liked the decision there. Matt Swanson gets the strikeout against Manny Machado, but the base hit from Jackson Merrill leads to 2 more runs scoring. So the final line score from Matthew Liberatore looks like this: 4 1/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 4 runs, only one. Yes, one of them earned 2 walks and a strikeout. Disappointing night for the Cardinals. And I don't want to say disappointing for Matthew Liberatore because, like I said, the first 4 innings were sharp. A disappointing finish for him. And while some of it was in his control, right? He walked those 2 batters. Overall, should have been out of that inning. And unfortunately, the defense, like I said, that has been very good this year, just wasn't able to come through in that moment.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, the Padres coming in on a 5-game win streak. They were 60-49 heading into tonight's game. Of course, they had 40,000 plus in attendance there tonight. So really kind of strong in that suit, where the Cardinals have seen the opposite of that. But as Jeremy Hodge mentioning here, I'm not being mean, but the Cardinal season is officially over. There was a lot of fresh faces for the Padres out there tonight too, and they still looked pretty good. And once again, their bullpen's been on point, and their starting pitching's been on point. So that was just a proven fact there tonight.
Yeah, 2 total opposites going into this point in the season. You have the Padres, who are red hot right now and are buy at the deadline. I mean, I don't even know if that's enough of a word to use. I mean, they went all in at the deadline. Here's the thing: when it comes to Padres president of baseball operations, AJ Preller, you know that you're going to get a guy that's going to take some risks. And are they always going to pan out? Not always, but it sure is fun. It's a fun product to be around, and it feels in total opposite of what the Cardinals do, much more conservative in the way that they operate things. There's different ways to operate things, but I tell you what, the Padres have been the winning organization here in the last several years, and AJ Preller and the way that he runs that ball club has been a huge reason as to why. So you look at some of the pieces that they had tonight. Mason Miller, boy, is he going to be fun to watch in San Diego for a long time. Strikes out Jordan Walker on a 103 mile per hour fastball. They get some much needed bullpen help in him. The only guys we didn't see tonight of the additions were Freddie Fermin and JP Sears. I'm sure we'll see them sooner than later. See a couple of additions to the lineup as well. Ramon Laureano, he was over 4 tonight with a strikeout. And then Ryan O'Hearn, we saw him as a pinch hitter later in the game. He got hit by a pitch. But overall, a lot of good additions for this San Diego team. They're going to be fun to watch down the stretch. And honestly, when you have a Pobo like that is willing to put the pieces into your team,
right?
Personally, I'm like, you know what? I hope they have success. I hope that they go and they make a run in the postseason. Would I like for it to wait until after this series? I absolutely would love to. Unfortunately,
just don't start now. Let's wait till the next series.
Let's wait until the next series. But it really is a little bit ironic in the sense that you really do have two teams in total opposite. The Padres adding a bunch of pieces, giving up a bunch of prospects, a boatload of prospects, including the number 3 prospect in all of baseball in Leo DeVries. And then you have the Cardinals giving up several of their relief pitchers, their core. And as a result, we saw some of that young bullpen, some of those young bullpen pieces that, we're going to expect to see a lot more of here in the final couple of months of the year. Thought that Matt Swanson looked pretty good, unfortunately. Entered into the game in a tough spot, tough part of the lineup with 3, 4, 5 due up. And gets Machado to strike out, Merrill the base hit back up the middle. Had a sharp inning, excluding the hit by pitch in his next inning. So I like Matt Swanson's stuff. This is a guy that can touch triple digits, is going to live on the fastball in the high 90s. He's got some good stuff. And I think that there's a lot of potential in Matt Swanson being a guy that is up here for all of 2026 or a good chunk of it at least. So I thought that was good stuff from him tonight. Great to see Ryan Fernandez again, a guy that was so impactful for the Cardinals in 2024 in their bullpen. You look at the pieces in last year's bullpen. Obviously, Helsley's by far number 1, but Kittredge was great. Romero was great, but Fernandez was right there with those guys as far as being very impactful and throwing a lot of high leverage innings. We know the disastrous April that he had. So it's great to see him back up because, we know he's going to get the opportunity, and for him to take advantage of it tonight was a good sign to see. Graceffo also a sharp night. So, I'm not going to lie. It's pretty bleak, right? When you're talking about the biggest highlight of the night being that your young bullpen looked sharp, but I'm going to be very cutthroat honest with you, Cardinals fans. We're probably going to see a little bit more of that here the rest of the season because you take away one of the best parts of this team in the veteran high leverage bullpen pieces. All of a sudden, there's going to be some question marks as to how they're going to be able to close out some games. So guys are going to get opportunity. So, it's unfortunate. It's a tough reality. It's where the organization is right now.
Yeah, so I'd kind of consider the bullpen maybe it's just some patchwork pieces, I guess, until we figure out exactly who's going to do what and where they're going to be. Because you're still trying to figure some of it out, right? I mean, yeah, your main part is gone, but like you said, Romero, you still have quite a few that can really step up here with the opportunity, but still piecing something together.
To a certain extent, yeah. I'm looking at these guys and I'm saying, I look at Patchwork and. I mean, to a certain extent, yes, it is patchwork. These are guys, though, that do have you are fielding out, right, who can contribute for the future. So it's not like there's not going to be purpose beyond this year for what they're doing right now. There's still going to be purpose behind the decision-making process. But yes, to a certain extent, it is patchwork in the sense that these guys would not be on the major league roster, at least right now, if the Cardinals would have played better leading up to the trade deadline. Unfortunately, that's not the reality in which we're in right now.
You're 100% right. So the bat staying quiet, some poor defense. Again, Contreras, the sole contributor tonight with that 398-foot shot, but then the error that he made in a couple of just questionable, uncharacteristic plays or attempted plays by him at first. And then Nolan Arnado, we've had a couple of comments already about Nolan going on the IL and his shoulder, and would he be on the IL? One of the questions earlier was, would he be on the IL if he was traded? Or is this really a shoulder issue? Or just a couple of things now that some folks are asking about Nolan. So what are your thoughts on that whole situation?
Yeah, so just for those that aren't aware, because I've even seen a couple of, is Nolan getting benched? Nolan Arnado was placed on the injured list today. He's been having right shoulder issues for a while. That is back. It's been one of the issues, right, that he has had this year. I know he had some finger issues at one point. This has been one of the other issues that he has had throughout the season. The timing of it most certainly is odd. It's been a lingering injury for a while. There's no hiding, right, that the Cardinals were, I'm sure, looking into potentially trading Nolan Arenado. We know that John Mozeliak went and he met with him as well as the other two veterans with no trade clauses. And from what we heard, Arenado was not willing to open up his list of teams that he was willing to waive the no trade clause for. As a result, and who knows if the Cardinals would have been able to even find a suitor. This is a guy, while he's playing still great defense, he's getting up there in age. The bat has been by far career low this year, and he's owed a lot of money over the next couple of years. So who knows what the market, even if there wasn't a no trade clause, would have been for Nolan Arenado. But the timing of it most certainly is unique. The Cardinals, it feels like, really just had this come to Jesus moment, right, where there is reality setting in that this team is not going to be competing in 2026. They just traded off a bunch of pieces that were on expiring contracts, but impactful pieces. They did not get guys that are going to be MLB ready or are knocking on the door. They got pieces that are filling into the system. 4 of the 6 guys they acquired were single A guys, right? It very much so puts it in, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's a harsh reality, right? As to that, the Cardinals, this is a rebuilding time for St. Louis. We know that Nolan Arenado wants to be on a contender, but he's only willing to waive it for so many teams. So it makes you wonder if the timing of this just happens to be coincidence, that it's the Cardinals said, you know what, we're going to just go ahead and put you on the injured list for a couple of weeks. Let's try to get you back to 100% rather than letting this nag out like this to where you're at whatever it is, 60%, 75% the rest of the year. There's that side of it that it could be, or it could be something else, right, where maybe this was done intentionally to say, hey, we'd like for these young guys to get more opportunity. Putting Gorman at thirds opens up opportunities for other guys to be able to play in different spots. It leaves open the DH spot a certain amount of the time. Those are the two things that this could be. We don't know for sure which one it is, but I will say this. We know that Nolan Arenado's shoulder has been something that has been nagging for him for quite a while. The fact that this is happening just now, the day after the Cardinals sell off their pieces at the trade deadline, it is a little bit interesting.
So turning to tomorrow, we have McGreevy tomorrow and then Palante on Sunday. So looking at how the Padres look tonight, unfortunately, I don't feel like it's looking too solid for the Cardinals. Now, we've seen them not put up too much offense and then turn around the next day and put up 7 or 8 runs. I mean, that's just how they've been all year. So it wouldn't necessarily be a surprise factor, but it just doesn't look like what you said. It appears to be kind of up in the air. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity for them to still win quite a few games. At the same time, they called them the comeback kids for a while, and now you've got some kids definitely in the system and out there on the mound trying to come back from, a couple of stints in AAA. And I'm just kind of at a loss for words right now because we just have to see what happens from this point moving forward.
Well, here's the reality, right? Obviously the goal is always to win as many games as possible. But the rest of this year, winning is not going to be the sole priority, right? I'm not saying you don't go for winning. The goal is still to win, but the rest of the year is going to be, okay, young guys, here's your chance. Prove yourself to us. You want to be a part of this team for the future when we are ready to compete in a couple of years? You want to be a part of this? This is your opportunity to prove it. So I'm looking more so at individual performances on night-to-night basis than I am looking at the overall record. Now, if the Cardinals are able to string together a good stretch of games and all of a sudden they're back in the mix for the wild card a little bit, maybe that conversation shifts. But as of right now, the Cardinals are under 500. They've been trending in the wrong direction now for at least a month, probably a little bit more than that. There's no reason for me to look at tomorrow's game and to say, do I feel like the Cardinals are going to win it? Like, yeah, I'd love for the Cardinals to be able to win tomorrow's ball game. But what's more important to me is, what are my young guys proving? Do I feel like the deeper into this season I go, the more confident I'm getting that guys are going to be able to contribute for the future of this organization? And tonight, like I said, the good signs, some of your bullpen pieces, your young guys, looked pretty good. The bad part, your offense continues to struggle. Yes, it was a very good starting pitcher out there, but we've seen the Cardinals hit good starting pitching this year. Yes, you're going to have quiet stretches of baseball, but what is that now? One run in, is that 28 innings, 29 innings, something like that? I mean, it's pretty telling as to where it feels like each part, the team as a whole is right now. It's been bad baseball as of late, and it's been frustrating to watch. And I saw something earlier on Twitter that the Cardinals post trade deadline in 2023, the last time they sold, were 24-31. I hope it's better than that, but at the same time, it would not surprise me at all if that's what we saw for the next couple of months. Let's be honest, even with those three bullpen guys, July was pitiful. How many games under 500 were they in July? 6, 5, 7? So I don't mean to be a pessimist here, right? But
reality.
It could be a little. It could get bumpy here in these final couple of months for the Cardinals.
It did catch my attention too when they were talking about Contreras after that home run. It was 23 at that point, scoreless innings that he broke up, but he has 15 home runs this year, and he's leading the team. He's leading the team with 15 home runs, and I was like, did I hear that right? Just because I'm so used to it not being in that situation for the Cardinals, right? I mean, the team leading hitter with home runs, Wilson Contreras with 15. That just kind of shocked me. I mean, you just feel like some of the numbers they put up, it would be a different situation. But
it's not a team that hits for power. It's not. And Ali Marmol earlier this week explained that one of the reasons that they are they're going to give Ivan Herrera some opportunities in left field is because they need some power from the outfield. Bernie Miklasz found this great stat. I don't know how the heck he finds all these stats. I'm trying to follow in Bernie Miklasz's footsteps as far as being able to find all these great stats. But he is the king of just finding these crazy stats. And he found a stat that since I believe it was 23, the Cardinals outfield has the worst power numbers in baseball. I don't know how he found that, but I was like, man, that's crazy. And it's a great thing to consider, right? I mean, you look at the teams that the Cardinals are going to be competing against in the future. A lot of the power is coming from the outfield positions, specifically the corner positions. And the Cardinals don't have that. Ivan Herrera, not a huge power guy, right? But he's by far leading this team in OPS around 850 this year. And he spent a lot of time on the IL as well. You'd like to think maybe that could stick around that spot as he continues to play out his career. We don't know. It's too early to make that call. But him potentially being your left fielder of the future allows for a little bit more power. So it's just one of those things. Right now, this Cardinals team has little to no power, unfortunately. Wilson Contreras being one of the few pieces. 15 home runs on the year, as you mentioned. Love Wilson Contreras, right? But if you are going to have a hard time being a playoff team without two of the three, power, hitting for average, or good quality pitching, I'll judge it through ERA, right? If you do not have two of those three, you're going to have a hard time being a playoff team. It does not happen very often for teams that aren't in the top, I think it's 10, 12 of those two of those three categories.
Mason Windu asked a question about how many home runs has Contreras ever hit. Well, to be exact, 2022.
Like a career high?
Yeah, so he hit 22 in 2022 in 113 games. He hit 15 in 84 and 24, and then he hit 24 in 2019 with 105. So 24 would
Contreras is having a pretty good season offensively. It's more so just to say there's not enough around him. Is more
right.
so the conversation a piece that this is based around. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the reality. It's where they are right now.
All right. So what are we looking at tomorrow? What would you like to see happen? Who would you like to see a little bit more performance out of when it comes to this bullpen and this pitching, as far as something to be on the bright side and what Cardinal Nation can look forward to? Someone that maybe can give a little bit of a spark that we haven't seen much of.
What was the word that everyone was using to describe this team at the beginning of 2025? It was Victor Scott's Youngry, right? Young and hungry. I'm not saying that this team has lost that, right? But the rut that this team is in right now on the field, it makes you wonder. I would love to see this team come out tomorrow with some fire against the team that is on their way to the postseason. I would love to see this team come out and play with some fire tomorrow. Get a little bit scrappy if you have to. I saw that BC Buckner, love BC Buckner joining us here in the chat, saying would be nice if the team could manufacture runs. We know this team has a little bit of speed. We saw them doing this a lot early in the year, being able to manufacture runs in different ways. And the deeper into the season we've gotten, it feels like they've lost a little bit of that scrappiness to them.
Yeah, that spunk.
I would love to see the Cardinals be able to play with a little bit of fire tomorrow. And as a result, find a way to win. No matter what it looks like, find a way to win. Because like I said, while the win total by the end of this year doesn't necessarily matter, what does matter is teaching these guys what it looks like to work through these ruts and to figure out how to get out of playing poor quality baseball. That's what does matter. And there's veterans on this team that have gone through this, and I think there is purpose to guys like Nolan Arnado and Sonny Gray and Wilson Contreras still being here. Would it, to a certain extent, make sense if not all of them were? Yes, but that doesn't mean that there isn't any purpose. And one of those purposes can be walking out times like this where nothing is going right, and you can kind of guide and walk through these moments with these young guys and teach them how to go about it and how to get out of these moments.
Yeah, how to step up and really be that key player. I heard Chip and Mark talking about it tonight on the broadcast. The Padres, as you can see, were a very contact-driven team. They have the ability to put the ball into play. They implemented the small ball, like you talked about. Manufacturing runs is what we want to see the Cardinals do. They have the capability, but watching the Padres do that, I mean, they did have a little bit of spunk tonight, the Padres. They were back home.
There's no reason not to.
Right.
There's zero reason not to right now. You look at this team, everything that they've added, they have a fan base that is fired up. I mean, it looked fun to be at Petco Park tonight. I mean,
yeah,
I was a little envious. Absolutely. I wish I was there. So there's a lot to be excited about right now. We know that they're one of the, they got some of the biggest stars in the game, in Tatis, Machado, Merrill's great, Luis Ariz. There's a bunch of big name guys there. So there's reason to be excited down there and to have that spunk. And the Cardinals could use some of that, no doubt about it.
All right. Well, nothing beats relaxing on a hot summer day and watching baseball. And the simplest way to get in the action is to download the Pick 6 app from DraftKings. It's crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for two or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for a big cash prize. Pick 6 is available right here in Missouri. Don't miss out on the fun, and don't settle for a smaller payout. Switch to Pick 6, and right now, new customers can get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of just $5.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
All right. So do we have any final thoughts on what we want to discuss tonight? Because we did discuss Libby's start, some poor defense, our bats staying quiet, the new faces on the Padres, they're fire. And we discussed Nolan Arnado and his shoulder that's been a constant nag, but finally on the IL, and a couple of comments there on that. But anything else that you want to say here?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's tough to see. You never like for someone to be injured to have to go to the injured list. I'll say that, but I am excited to see Nolan Gorman get some extended opportunity at third base. We can map this out real quick. How does that open up the rest of the field for you? If Gorman is going to be consistently at third, then you don't have to worry about finding a place for him to play because Donovan's going to be at second base almost every day. So Gorman, while he will still DH here and there, he's going to be playing third base a lot. So that opens up the DH position for you a lot. You know that you're going to have Contreras at first most days. Wynn's going to be at short every day. Scott's going to be in center almost every day. So you're going to have Walker in right most days. And then it's going to be a matter of kind of maneuvering through, balancing out Nootbaar once he's back in left, Herrera getting some time in left. He's also going to DH, mixing in that time with Burleson at DH. Burleson will play first a little bit on days that Contreras needs to have a day off or play DH. Like it's going to be a lot of moving pieces for Ali Marmol, but it feels way more possible to be able to move the pieces around when you have one less piece that's not there. And in this case, the one less piece is one of your veterans, right? That kind of created one of the big log jams. Yes, it was his right to not waive that no trade clause, 100%. But this is going to allow for these young guys to get some extended opportunity. And I am excited to see what these guys can do with that. That's by far what I'm going to be looking at. If the Cardinals finish, what are they at? They're 55 and 56 right now. Mm-hmm. The Cardinals finish with 70 wins, but one of these guys really gets going that's just been decent this year, whether it be Gorman or Nootbaar or Burles, whoever it may be. If someone, one or two of them really get going, boy, I feel like that's a win. That's where that's the reality of where expectations are right now for the Cardinals. So that's kind of where I'm at. Do you have any final thoughts here as we wrap?
No, just curious to see how McGreevy does tomorrow. He didn't have exactly a stellar outing his last time out, but again, he's not going to be perfect every time. But if he does come out with a good performance tomorrow, I think that'll be a good thing and something to hang their hat on, that they've got a guy back in the starting rotation that can really take him deep, eat up some innings, put out some good numbers, and really just give them something, because they really need some of that in their rotation. That if the bats come alive and can give him some run support, then hopefully that's going to be a win-win for everyone around. But I think once they get something going, they have the capability of having that feistiness, that fire, whatever you want to call it, the spunk, the attitude. We've seen it before. They just kind of have to pick their heads up and figure out what's going to cause that and who's going to be in charge of making sure that happens.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well said. As far as McGreevy goes, it was just last time out that he faced off against the Padres. We know that did not go well. 4 2/3 innings thrown, 9 hits, 7 runs, all of them earned, as well as 2 walks. So he's going to get an opportunity to go out against the team that he just got roughed up by. Here's the thing with Michael McGreevy. I know he's the new shiny toy right now. Everyone's excited that he's up here full time. I think the expectations were maybe a little bit high because we were seeing him in very limited opportunities. And to be fair, like, he shined in most of those opportunities.
Right.
But I think we need to make sure that we have realistic expectations about Michael McGreevy. This is going to be his first full-time opportunity, right, where he is pitching every 5 days. So to expect for him to be lights out every single time, or to even be 6 innings, 2 earned runs, I think is maybe a little bit high. This is going to be the time, right, just like it has been for a lot of these guys. This is going to be his time to learn how to consistently pitch and have success at the major league level. Eventually, teams are going to figure out how to hit him. This is a guy that does not rely on strikeouts. He is a pitch-to-contact guy like Andre Palante. There's going to be nights where that works in his favor. There's going to be nights when that doesn't. And last week's start was not one of those cases where it worked out. So let's hope that tomorrow is, and that we see him have another solid start, because no doubt he's had more good starts than he has bad starts in 2025.
Yeah, let's definitely hope that's the case. So for first pitch tomorrow at Petco Park is at 9:10, a little bit later than it was this evening with an 8:40 pitch. So once again, McGreevy on the mound. The Cards falling short tonight by a final score of 4-1. Libby just went 4 1/3 with 4 hits, 4 runs allowed. Only one of those earned 2 walks and 1 K, but those 2 walks and 2 errors are what resulted in those 4 runs out there. So that's exactly what happened with most of the action tonight. Because other than that, it was pretty quick and in and out and 2 hour, a little bit over a game. So we'll see what happens with the Birds tomorrow. But once again, that's Ethan Hannaford. I'm Sara Dayley. Join us every post-game show right here on the Cards Central Postgame. We're here for you. Like, subscribe, comment. We love to hear your feedback, and we'll definitely see you right back here next time. So take care, everybody.